Welcome to the Test Management Mindset, insights into the world of software testing. The best content by Pragmatic in audio form, designed to keep you inspired wherever you are. In today's episode, we're on the topic of QA transformation, concrete strategies and actionable insights tailored for enterprise-scale quality assurance. Let's get started.
Ever feel like, the whole world of enterprise software testing is like out to get you?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're constantly like wrestling with this like sprawling, ever-growing beast.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Right.
Today, we're diving into QA transformation today.
Yeah.
Basically like a guidebook promising real-world solutions for turning that testing chaos into like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. And it's not just like pie in the sky theory. It's packed with strategies companies are using right now to make a real difference.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Like, it seems like every organization kind of struggles with the same testing hurdles, juggling countless projects, wrangling teams that are like scattered across time zones. And then on top of that, facing tech stacks that like evolve faster than we can keep up.
It's a common story for sure. And one of the biggest culprits, I think, is often just like this bloated test case library. Think about it. Just like, outdated scenarios, duplicates everywhere, and tests so old they probably like ran on dial-up.
It's almost comical how relatable that is.
Yeah.
Except it's definitely not funny when you're like facing deadlines.
Right.
But before we like spiral into despair here, the book throws us a lifeline.
Okay.
A test case purge party.
Right. Like instead of dreading the test case cleanup, you turn it into a competition.
Okay.
Divide your team, set clear criteria for what constitutes like an outdated or redundant test, and then let the games begin.
Oh, I love that. Like a little friendly competition always helps.
It does.
And, who knows, maybe some bragging rights for the team that like eliminates the most digital dust bunnies.
For sure.
But it can't just be like a one-time bash, right?
Right.
What happens after the confetti settles?
That's where I think the living test case approach comes in.
Okay.
It's about shifting our mindset from like static documents gathering dust to like dynamic entities that evolve with our products.
Okay.
Think of it like this. Every time your code changes, imagine if your test management system, ideally integrated with your version control, automatically flags the relevant tests for review.
So no more manually like hunting down every test that might be impacted by a code change.
Exactly.
Okay.
You got it. And it goes even further. Like we can leverage machine learning now to analyze test results over time, identifying those tests that are consistently passing, meaning they might be redundant.
Oh, okay.
Or those consistently failing, highlighting areas that need attention.
So we're not just talking about like cleaning house.
Right.
But actually using AI to help us like work smarter and more efficiently. That's what I call QA transformation.
There you go.
But I have to be honest.
Yeah.
Even with the leanest test cases, things can feel, kind of overwhelming in these like massive enterprise systems.
Absolutely. And that's where microtests come in handy.
Okay.
Instead of like these huge monolithic tests,
Right.
we break them down into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Okay.
Each microtest focuses on like a very specific scenario. Imagine building with Lego bricks, right?
Yeah.
You have these individual components, each serving a
That you can assemble and reassemble as needed.
So instead of reinventing the wheel every time, you're building a library of reusable, easy-to-update test components.
Exactly.
That seems infinitely less daunting.
Right.
But then the question becomes, how do you manage all these microtests? How do you even keep track of like what exists and who's using what?
That's a great question. And the book had a fascinating idea for that. They called IF a microtest marketplace.
A marketplace.
Yeah, think of it like an internal platform where teams can share their microtests, fostering collaboration and preventing duplicate work.
That makes sense. You could even have ratings or reviews so teams know which microtests are like the most effective or efficient.
No, that's a concept I can get behind.
Right.
A way to not only like organize and streamline testing, but also encourage knowledge sharing and collaboration between teams. It's like the best parts of open source, but for software testing.
Exactly. It shifts the focus from each team struggling in isolation to a more collaborative and efficient approach. But it's not just about keeping things organized, right?
Right.
How do we actually know if our efforts are making a difference?
Right. We need a way to measure our progress.
Yeah.
And like prove the value of all this optimization.
Yeah, and I don't think it's enough to just rely on pass-fail metrics anymore.
Okay.
The book talks about moving beyond the basics and introduces this concept of a test case efficiency score.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this score.
It's about evaluating the value each test case brings.
Okay.
It considers factors like execution time, maintenance effort, and the criticality of the defects it uncovers. A high efficiency score means a test is finding crucial bugs quickly and without a lot of overhead.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, the tests that give you the most bang for your buck, so to speak.
Exactly.
But even with a perfectly organized system and the most efficient tests, things can still fall apart if your teams aren't communicating effectively.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're right. Communication is key, and it's often where things just totally break down, especially in like these large organizations.
Yeah.
We're talking about like the silo effect.
Right.
Teams spread across different locations, using different tools, speaking different languages.
Right.
It's just a recipe for like confusion and inefficiency.
It's like trying to orchestrate a symphony when like half the musicians are wearing noise-canceling headphones.
Right.
But
Yeah.
QA transformation today offers some solutions.
Okay.
They introduced this idea of a testing ambassadors program.
Oh, yeah. I like that. It's a brilliant concept, really. Instead of relying on like chance encounters
Yeah.
or hoping everyone reads their emails,
Right.
you have these dedicated individuals acting as liaisons between teams. These ambassadors are chosen not only for their deep understanding of the texting process,
Right.
but also for their excellent communication skills.
So they're like the diplomats of the testing world, building bridges
Exactly.
and ensuring everyone is on the same page. I like it.
Yeah.
But how do we ensure these ambassadors aren't like showing up to these diplomatic missions empty-handed?
That's where I think a structured knowledge transfer process comes in.
Yeah.
When a new ambassador is appointed, they need like a deep dive into the workflows and tools used by the teams that they'll be working with.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like equipping them with the Rosetta Stone of software testing,
Okay.
enabling them to decode jargon and translate between different testing dialects.
I love that analogy. Makes perfect sense. But let's be real.
Yeah.
Even with the best ambassadors, like keeping up with communication in these like fast-paced environments, it can just feel impossible.
Oh, yeah,
Emails pile up.
for sure.
Information gets lost in the shuffle. And before you know it, you're back to square one.
You're spot on. And that's where I think technology can step in to like lighten the load a bit.
Okay.
The book suggests leveraging AI-powered tools specifically designed for this, testing ecosystem. Imagine like a platform similar to Otter.ai or Fireflies.ai that sits in on your meetings, analyzes the conversations, and even translates between technical jargon and plain English.
So we're talking about like an AI assistant that can provide everyone with personalized summaries.
Yes.
Highlighting the most relevant information.
Yes.
Developers get the technical details. Managers get the high-level overview. All without anyone having to spend hours writing and sending reports.
Right.
That's incredibly efficient.
Exactly. And then to further enhance collaboration and transparency, the book also highlights the power of visual tools.
Okay.
Think interactive Kanban boards,
Yeah.
customizable dashboards,
Right.
and real-time updates, all like integrated with your testing tools.
So no more like deciphering cryptic spreadsheets or hunting down the latest updates buried in endless email threads.
Exactly.
That sounds like a dream come true.
It's about making information accessible and digestible at a glance.
Right.
They even suggest holding regular virtual walkthroughs
Okay.
where the team can just like review these boards together, address any roadblocks in real time, and just kind of like stay in sync.
It sounds infinitely less stressful than the way I think most teams are currently operating.
Yeah.
Do they have any like real-world examples of companies seeing success with this visual approach?
They do. One case study mentioned a multinational software company that saw a significant reduction in time wasted on like status update meetings,
Wow.
simply by implementing these visual collaboration tools. And it wasn't just about saving time. Their teams reported feeling more connected and informed about the overall testing progress.
That's a powerful testament to the impact of like clear communication and visibility.
It is.
Okay, we've talked about streamlining test cases, fostering collaboration, and even giving our communication a tech-powered upgrade.
Right.
But let's move on to another crucial aspect of efficient testing: Automation.
Ah, yes, automation.
It holds so much promise, right?
It does.
For like increased efficiency and faster testing cycles.
Yeah.
However, as the book points out, it's not as simple as flipping a switch.
Right. It's not a magic bullet.
Right. Just throwing automation at the problem without a solid strategy
Mm-hmm.
is a recipe for more headaches.
Exactly. QA transformation today goes beyond the basics and digs into like smarter automation strategies.
Okay.
One that stood out to me was the adaptive automation framework.
Adaptive automation.
Yeah.
It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It kind of does.
Is that like automation that can learn and adapt on its own?
You're not far off. Like, we're talking about AI-powered tests
Okay.
that can actually adjust to changes in the user interface.
Oh, okay.
Imagine, like, a button moves or a field is renamed.
Right.
Instead of breaking your test script, these, like, self-healing tests can figure it out and keep going.
That sounds like a game changer,
It is.
especially for teams dealing with rapidly changing applications.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Do they name any specific tools that offer this kind of sorcery?
They do. They mention tools like Apple Tools, Testim, Mabel, and Functionize as examples of platforms that are incorporating this AI-driven test adaptation.
That's fascinating. I can see how those tools would be incredibly valuable for maintaining like automation stability.
Right.
But I imagine there are still situations where human testers are essential, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Even in our increasingly automated world.
100%. And the book acknowledges this, advocating for a hybrid automation model.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot, that
Yeah.
balance between the efficiency of automation and the nuance of human intuition.
So it's like a centaur of the testing world, part machine, part human, each playing to their strengths.
I love that analogy. It perfectly captures the essence of this approach.
Yeah?
Use automation for those repetitive, data-heavy tasks,
Yeah.
but bring in like those skilled human testers for the more nuanced evaluations, like usability testing or exploring complex user journeys.
It makes sense. There are certain aspects of the user experience that you can't simply program a machine to understand. Do they share any examples of companies successfully implementing this hybrid model?
They do. There's a case study about a leading e-commerce platform that saw a significant boost in their bug detection rate
Wow.
simply by adopting this hybrid approach.
Okay.
They used automation to set up those intricate user journey scenarios and then brought in like those skilled human testers to do what they do best. Uncover those subtle but critical issues that might have slipped through the cracks.
It's a beautiful example of leveraging the best of both worlds. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
From streamlining our test cases to transforming the way we communicate and even giving our automation a futuristic upgrade. But there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to discuss. Data. Yeah, data. It's like everywhere.
Everywhere.
But as we all know, it's not just about like collecting it.
Right.
It's about deciphering its secrets and actually putting it to work.
Right, exactly. QA transformation today dives into this idea of like predictive quality analytics.
Okay.
Imagine this. Harnessing the power of machine learning to sift through your mountain of testing data, past defects, code changes, test results, and using that to anticipate potential problem areas in your new releases.
So instead of just reacting to bugs, we're like getting ahead of them.
Yes.
Almost like having a crystal ball for software quality.
Precisely. They talk about creating these visual risk heat maps that highlight the areas of your application most likely to harbor bugs based on like historical patterns.
Okay.
So instead of spreading your testing efforts thin, you can focus your resources where they'll have the most impact.
That would be a lifesaver for teams trying to prioritize their testing efforts.
Yeah.
No more guessing games, just data-driven insights guiding your strategy.
Exactly.
Speaking of data-driven, how do we know which tests to run to actually catch those predicted bugs?
Oh, that's a great question. They introduced this fascinating concept called the Test Impact Analysis Engine. Imagine this. You've made some code changes.
Okay.
And now it's time to figure out which tests to run.
Right.
Instead of manually combing through everything,
Yeah.
this engine analyzes those changes and automatically pinpoints the most relevant tests.
So it's like having a super intelligent test suite
Right.
that dynamically adapts to every code change, ensuring you're always running the most impactful tests.
Exactly.
That seems incredibly powerful, especially for those massive test suites where knowing where to begin can be like half the battle.
Oh, for sure. And for all the automation enthusiasts out there, it gets
Yeah.
even better. This engine can be seamlessly integrated into your CI/CD pipelines,
Right.
making the entire process automatic, from code change to test execution.
It's all about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
But even with all this like data analysis and automation,
Right.
we still need a way to gauge the overall health of our software, right?
Yeah.
I mean, traditional metrics like pass-fail rates, they don't really paint the full picture.
You're right. And the book addresses this with the concept of a holistic quality scorecard. Instead of just looking at how many tests passed, it encourages us to consider a wider range of factors: code coverage, user feedback, performance metrics, even things like code complexity and the number of bugs that snuck through to production.
It's like taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Getting a more comprehensive view of our software's quality.
Right. It's not just about individual tests passing or failing. It's about understanding the overall health and stability of our applications.
Precisely. And this holistic approach allows us to pinpoint areas for improvement across our entire development process, right?
Yeah.
Leading to higher quality software overall.
Exactly.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far, packed with practical strategies and innovative ideas.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But I have to ask, how do we prepare our teams for this new world of AI-powered testing, microtests, and holistic scorecards? How do we ensure our skills are keeping pace with these technological advancements?
That's a question QA transformation today tackles head-on.
Okay.
It emphasizes the importance of fostering a culture of continuous learning within our QA teams.
Right.
One intriguing concept they propose is the broken comb-shaped tester development program.
A broken comb.
I know, right?
Okay, you've got my attention.
Okay.
What's the thinking behind that unusual name?
It's all about encouraging testers to become what they call T-shaped or even broken comb-shaped professionals.
Okay.
Imagine a comb.
Yeah.
Each tooth represents a different skill, right?
Right.
Some teeth are longer, representing deep expertise in specific areas like performance testing or security testing.
Okay.
However, you still need that solid base of the comb, those foundational skills that hold everything together.
So there's specialists in one area, but they also have a broader understanding of the entire testing landscape.
Exactly. It's about breaking down silos and fostering collaboration.
Right.
These broken comb testers can not only excel in their area of expertise, but can also seamlessly collaborate with experts in other domains, leading to a more well-rounded and effective testing approach.
I love that visual, but how do we actually cultivate this kind of multifaceted skill set within our teams?
The book offers some great suggestions. Use skills matrices to identify strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
Create personalized learning paths for each team member.
Mm-hmm.
Establish mentorship programs where experienced testers can guide newer members.
Yeah.
And even consider partnering with universities to offer internships and bring in fresh perspectives.
It's about investing in your team's growth and empowering them to thrive in this ever-evolving field.
It is.
It's inspiring to see that even with all these technological advancements, the human element remains at the heart of successful testing.
Absolutely. It's the perfect blend of human ingenuity and technological innovation.
This entire deep dive has been a masterclass in just that, blending those cutting-edge tools and strategies with the irreplaceable value of human expertise and collaboration.
100%.
We've covered so much ground today, from purging those outdated test cases to embracing the power of AI and data.
We did, yeah.
What would be your biggest piece of advice for listeners feeling overwhelmed and ready to embark on their own QA transformation journeys?
I would say start small,
Okay.
Don't try to revolutionize everything overnight.
Right.
Choose one area that resonates with you. Yeah, maybe it's tackling that test case backlog or experimenting with microtests and focus on making incremental improvements.
Right.
Remember, even small changes can have a ripple effect, leading to significant progress over time.
That's excellent advice.
Yeah.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Exactly.
And as with any journey, it's about taking that first step, being open to learning and adapting along the way, and never losing sight of the ultimate goal, delivering high-quality software.
Thank you so much for joining me on this incredibly insightful deep dive. It's been an absolute pleasure picking your brain.
The pleasure was all mine. It's
Yeah.
always exciting to explore these innovative solutions and imagine the future of QA.
Yeah.
And to our listeners, remember, the power to transform your testing processes is in your hands. And on that empowering note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, happy testing.